Alright, the Vagabonds got a new 2A, and they're dope! And I want to help you get them. So here's some free-to-play teams to help you do that. Before we get started, this is a good time for me to mention that the entrance condition for this dungeon is that you have to have a team composed of different elements, so there's no repeats allowed. Obviously, that means that it's going to change up the team a little bit depending on which Vagabond you're 2Aing. So I'm going to be going through a few teams as well as some reasonable substitutes to fit your needs. Oh, and unless otherwise noted, the Vagabond that you're taking with the team is unruined. Cool? Cool. First off, we've got a very safe team, arguably too safe at times, for if you're going for, say, the Dark Vagabond. This is going to be Verd as your lead with Riley and Lauren. Verd's leader skill again is a 28% speed lead in dungeons, and this very much is a dungeon. He is also ruined for Trickaroo, so that means that he's a little bit slower, but he's going to be acting as our primary damage dealer. Lauren is going to be the fastest on your team. She's here to set up your Verd with defense break and also keep the boss's attack bar down low to make sure that you don't get attacked as often. Lastly, there's Riley. Notably, she's wind, and that's great for us. That's going to end up drawing heat off of your Verd and your Lauren because everything in this dungeon is fire, so that means they're going to attack Riley. For this dungeon, I have Riley rune fast and tanky. That means plus 100-ish additional speed and as much HP and defense as you can muster. Also, if you have artifacts that reduce the incoming damage of fire monsters, now's the time to use them. I coupled that with additional recovery artifacts too. It really helps a lot. It could be going a little bit overboard because, to be honest, the dungeon isn't that difficult, but better safe than sorry. In the case of 2Aing a Roid, for example, which is of the wind element, you're going to need to swap out that Riley for something. My personal recommendation is going to be keeping the same framework, which is Verd, Lauren, but changing out Riley for Veramos. Veramos is going to serve a similar purpose in the sense that he's going to keep those defense breaks and provokes off of your team. You're not going to heal as much, but that's frankly not going to matter, because Veramos is actually going to be able to contribute to damage if you ruin him on crit damage. And his second skill that stuns is a really good way of preventing damage from hitting your team in the first place. And if you're making Daren? If you're going for a Daren, you can use something like Verd, Riley, and Veramos, or Verd, Veramos, and Vigor. In both of these situations, you're going to find that you'll have to outlast the 3 turns of immunity and defense buff that go on the enemy because neither of these teams has a strip, but they both have enough support to outlast it. These are pretty safe teams. However, for this one comp, I did find that having some runes on Daren helped because it was able to preserve the lifespan of my team. If you want to go for something a little bit more ambitious and aim for like a Galleon to defense break the enemy and apply attack buff, that's up to you. You can sub in whatever monsters you have to make your team a little bit stronger. But I want to make sure that these teams are as free to play as humanly possible, so I won't necessarily recommend that here. Oh, I did also find that Aegir and Shiho are helpful in this dungeon, but again, it's what you got. I'm not going to recommend them here. I did also want to include this just at the end of the video. These are the usage rates right now for each of the elements in the dungeon, and you'll see all of the monsters that people are using in combination with whatever Vagabond they're trying to 2A at the time. When in doubt, I suggest checking this out and seeing what changes you can make to make your team a little bit safer and better for your present situation. Alright guys, well I hope those frameworks help. If you have anything that you want to share from your personal experience inside the Sacreon 2A dungeons, be sure to leave it in a comment down below because it could help a fellow player while they're trying to go through it. Have a great day everyone, see you next time.